Operation Maitri, English, Operation Amity, is the rescue and relief operation in Nepal by the Government of India and Indian Armed Forces in the aftermath of the 2015 Nepal earthquake. India's response was started within 15 minutes of the quake. It started on April 26, 2015 and also involved ex-servicemen from the Gurkha Regiments for interface for guidance, relief, and rescue. The 2015 Nepal earthquake, also referred to as the Himalayan earthquake, occurred at 11:56 NST on April 25 with a moment magnitude, MW, of sub-9 and a maximum Mercalli intensity of 9, violent. Its epicenter was approximately 34 kilometers, 21 miles, east-southeast of Lamjung, Nepal, and its hypocenter was at a depth of approximately 15 kilometers, 9.3 miles. It is the most powerful disaster to strike Nepal since the 1934 Nepal-Bihar earthquake. Mount Everest avalanche. The earthquake triggered an avalanche on Mount Everest, killing at least 17. The death toll surpassed that of the 2014 Mount Everest avalanche, making it the most lethal day on the mountain. An Indian Army mountaineering team recovered the bodies of 19 mountaineers from Everest Base Camp and rescued at least 61 stranded climbers from Mount Everest. Indian Air Force helicopters reached Mount Everest on the morning of April 26 for rescue operations. Aircraft used EDIT. The Indian Army sent a Major General to Nepal to oversee the rescue and relief efforts. The Indian Air Force mobilized its Ilyushin IL-76. C-130J Hercules, C-17 Globemaster transport aircraft, Mi-17 helicopters for Operation Maitri. Up to 8 Mi-17 helicopters are being used for missions such as airdropping relief materials. Response. India was the first nation to respond to the crisis, by launching a full-fledged rescue and relief operation codenamed Operation Maitri. Within 15 minutes of the quake, Prime Minister Narendra Modi responded, directing immediate dispatch of relief and rescue teams, including medical team, to Nepal. Prime Minister Modi vowed to wipe the tears of every person in Nepal in his Man Ki Baat address to the nation. Indian Foreign Secretary S. J. Shankar announced that 6 more National Disaster Response Force teams would be sent to Nepal in the next 48 hours. He also announced that the aircraft sent to Nepal would not just rescue Indians, but citizens of other countries as well. Air India reduced fares on flights bound for Kathmandu from Delhi, Kolkata, Varanasi, and announced that it would also carry relief material on its flights. Timelines. April 25, 2015, by the afternoon, 10 teams from India's National Disaster Response Force, totaling 450 personnel and including several search and rescue dogs, had already arrived in Nepal. 10 additional Indian Air Force planes soon departed to join them with further aid. In the immediate aftermath of the quake, India sent 43 tons of relief material, including tents and food. Prime Minister Modi spoke with Nepalese Prime Minister Sushil Koirala and assured him of India's support and assistance. April 26, 2015, Operation Maitri started. The Indian Air Force evacuated over 500 citizens from Nepal late Saturday through Sunday morning, and hundreds more on Sunday. 10 flights were planned for Sunday. These would airlift Army forward hospitals, teams of doctors, nurses, and paramedics, engineering task forces, water, food, National Disaster Response Force teams, medical personnel and equipment, blankets and tents. By Sunday's end, India dispatched a further 10 tons of blankets, 50 tons of water, 22 tons of food items and 2 tons of medicines to Kathmandu. Nearly 1,000 National Disaster Response Force personnel were also pressed into service, and a big evacuation of Indian citizens was underway through the road route. The government deployed 35 buses to evacuate stranded Indians in Nepal via 2 routes, Sonali and Raxaul, along the Indo-Nepal border. India started issuing goodwill visas to foreigners stranded in Nepal and mobilizing buses and ambulances to bring them to India by road. Indian Railways shipped 100,000, 1 lakh, bottles of drinking water via the Air Force to be delivered as part of the relief minister. Railway Minister Suresh Prabhu later tweeted out that there were arrangements being made to supply 100,000 bottles every day. April 27, 2015, by Monday morning, the Indian Air Force had evacuated 1935 Indian citizens from Nepal using 12 aircraft sorties. Indian Army sources said 6 of 18 medical teams tasked to help with the relief efforts in Nepal had been deployed. The Indian Army was in the process of sending 10 engineer task forces with machinery to clear roads and debris. The troops have taken with them a further 10,000 blankets and 1,000 tents are on standby. The Indian Army was also bringing oxygen cylinders for distribution to medical teams. Spain sought India's help in evacuating its nationals from Nepal. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi assured the Spanish Foreign Minister that India will provide all possible help to Spanish nationals in Nepal. April 28, 2015, with the weather improving, the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army fanned out to remote areas while continuing to transport essential items from various bases to Kathmandu and evacuating distressed persons to India. A 41-member medical team, along with medical supplies, was sent to Nepal from Rajasthan. The Sashastra Seema Bal dispatched over 3 dozen vehicles, including ambulances and water tankers to Nepal from its border camps. The Indian government dispatched a further 220 tons of food packets and dry rations, 50 tons of water, 2 tons of medicines, 40 tents, and 1,400 blankets to Nepal.